Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding.
Good morning, everyone. Glad to have you with us here as we're just about ready to go with our Ag Issues program for Thursday morning. And we're going to talk with the folks at Shop Kansas Farms and learn more about Border Queen Harvest Hub as well. The person that you see on your screen right now, Jen Kern, is going to be joining us here shortly. And also Rick McNary, the founder of Shop Kansas Farm, will be joining us here on the program this morning. You're hearing audio in the background. That's the commercials playing on 580, and we will be set to go with the program here in just a second. And so just stand by as we're getting ready to go, and we will be talking about the big events that are taking place Saturday, this coming Saturday. As a matter of fact, in 2 days, if my math is right, the latest Market of Farms event that is going to take place with the folks at Shop Kansas Farms. And obviously you can go to their website, shopkansasfarms.com, go to their Facebook page as well, as we have been following Shop Kansas Farms here since its inception in late April, I think that's what it was. And that's been pretty incredible to watch. And I always joke with Rick, always make sure we check and see how many members are a part of Shop Kansas Farms, because I tell him the first interview that we did, and that was like in early May, it just went over the 50,000 mark, and now we have there are 170,400 members as well. So just about ready to go on air, so stand by, and we'll get going here in just a second.
Markets and interviews with those in the know. Now, your host, Greg Akagi.
Good morning, everyone. Glad to have you with us on the program this morning. Here in just a bit via StreamYard, we're going to talk with the folks at Shop Kansas Farms and also Border Queen Harvest Hub. And there's a big event coming up on Saturday that we'll tell you about. We're going to be joined here in just a bit by the founder of Shop Kansas Farms, Rick McNary. We'll also be joined by Jen Kern, our first chance to be on the Ag Issues program, and she is the executive director of the Border Queen Harvest Hub, which is a part of Shop Kansas Farms. But we're going to talk about that, what that is, and how it has been developing as well. That'll be coming up this morning on the Ag Issues program here on 580 WIBW. But before we do that, let's get an update on the forecast. And just a reminder, Nick, you will take the audio from the screen.
Agriculture Network. Weather patterns stays
okay, is everything? I mean, are you able to hear it? Okay.
A few days, at least through part of Sunday. The cold
Well, we'll
front
find out.
work its way across the state at some
I
point.
keep forgetting that
Sunday
talk mic
So
one
increasing chances for
splits up when you
showers
hit the
and
button. So I had,
shower chances could
for just a brief second, I had Control Room PC button on and the mic going off. So there was double audio for a second, but I turned the mic one down.
Statewide heading well, 80s to around 90,
Yeah,
even
we'll
some
just
low
take
90s
it
are
off
possible
this,
in a few spots. Tonight, mostly clear skies statewide. Lows in northwest Kansas fall to the mid 50s to around 60. Upper 50s to low 60s for southwest and northwest Kansas. Low 60s south central Kansas, northeast Kansas. Low to mid 60s. Southeast Kansas, low 60s. Friday's going to look a lot like
So if I
today,
do turn on the
some
mic,
sunshine and highs in the upper
it's
80s
just
to
to cut
low
off
90s across the entire state.
Friday
night, mostly
the audio from the
lows
speakers here.
statewide fall into the 60s. A couple of milder spots around
Okay.
70 will be possible as well. Saturday, sunshine remains in the forecast. Highs in northwest Kansas get to the upper 80s to low 90s. Upper 80s for southwest Kansas and north central Kansas. South central Kansas, mid 80s to around 90. For eastern Kansas, low to mid 80s for highs. And then Sunday, mainly sunny. Turning cooler in northwest Kansas with 70s for highs, upper 70s to upper 80s high temperatures in southwest Kansas. North central Kansas, mid 70s, mid 80s, low to mid 80s for northeast and south central Kansas, and mid 80s in southeast Kansas. This is Kansas Ag Network.
All right. Thank you very much. as far as temperatures are concerned this morning here in the capital city, we have a partly cloudy sky, 62 degrees at Blue Airport, partly cloudy, 60 degrees this morning at Ford's Field. This morning on the Ag Issues program, always good to catch up with the folks at Shop Kansas Farms. And we're going to be joined first off this morning by Rick McNary, who has been a longtime guest and the founder of Shop Kansas Farms, as he joins us on the program this morning. Rick, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Greg. Thanks for having me again.
Appreciate it as always. First time for this lady, Jen Kern, who is the executive director of the Border Queen Harvest Hub, as she joins us on the program this morning. Jen, good morning to you as well.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Well, I appreciate it. And Rick, as we head into now October, the month of October, Shop Kansas Farms has had great success with their Market of Farms events. And as a matter of fact, there is one coming up Saturday that's going to be taking place in Andover. So first, let's talk about the event itself, where it is going to be, and maybe if people have come to the previous Market of Farms events, how this one's going to be a little bit different.
You bet. So it will be at the Heritage, which is an upscale loft apartment complex just a little bit east of Butler or Andover Road on Highway 400 or 54. You can see it very visibly. It's a beautiful set of apartments, all new. The unique area this time is the garage below those apartments, which is ground level, all open, but that's where we're going to hold it. So it's going to be covered, but it'll also be kind of an open air and all on concrete and really protected, and kind of a unique opportunity for us. The Heritage folks really wanted people to come and see their place and support the farmers and the ranchers and growers around our network, and offered this space for us to do it. And so we, of course, you know me, Greg, we like trying new things and seeing, and we've had great success and great response already with the vendors that are wanting to come in, and some great standbys, people that have been there every year since we've started this. And then we've got some new ones as well.
Yeah, and that's more of the interesting part of this as well, is that you get into areas like Andover, obviously much closer to Wichita in an urban area, but yet you've seen the number of, and I know you only have a certain amount of vendors that you're able to get in there, but it's also ones that having the ones that have been there, but having the new ones as well, being able to come in and show their wares too.
Yeah, the unique thing about a Market of Farms, and why we call it that and not a farmer's market, is there's two different things that go on. One is we'll have vendors. In fact, there's one from Sabetha that will drive all the way down to Andover to be a vendor. And he's Jones Cattle Company. They've been with us from the very beginning. He does that because the last time we had one in Lawrence, the second part of this is we draw consumers from all over the state, all over the region. There'll be people that drive up from Oklahoma because they've been following these farmers and ranchers and growers. So Jeff, the last time in Lawrence, gained more than 100 new customers in one day. And as all of our farmers who usually sell out say, people come to buy, not to browse. It's not just a Saturday morning stroll. They come on purpose. In fact, some of them bring wagons, the little pull behind wagons, because they know they're going to stock up on stuff that from the farmers and ranchers in Kansas that they know and love.
Rick, the part of this that I think that has been fascinating to see is, for these farmers, these ranchers, marketing directly to consumers. In other words, you don't have to go sell your wares to a grocery store, to whatever the case may be, but to be able to do that, but to see the results. And here we are 5+ years later, and to hear stories like that, that's got to make you feel like, well, that's got to make you have more than enough satisfaction for the whole purpose of why you created this.
Yeah, you bet. And as you know, I started writing for Kansas Farm Bureau in 2015 as a freelance writer because I wanted to learn about farmers and ranchers. And in that period of time, just fell in love with them. And so this gives me an opportunity now to really shine an even greater spotlight on them. And what I love to do and what we love to do with Shop Kansas Farms, and you'll hear about the Border Queen Harvest Hub, we like prospering farmers. And they found this unique niche in this direct to consumer sales that has some higher profit margins for them. And plus, it connects them to consumers in ways that they've not been able to do before. And therefore, they're able to tell their story and make connections with people. And people are falling in love and learning about how really ranching and farming really works.
This all goes back to so many of us in agriculture. I'm a very small part of it, but for that farmer, educating the consumer, which is so key nowadays too.
Yeah. Well, I got inspired to write about farmers when I was actually at an FFA convention in 2015 in Louisville, went as a guest with a friend and heard them say, hey, we need to tell our story better. So on my way back, I called up Kansas Farm Bureau. Steve Backus was the president then, and Rich Feltz was coming in, talked to Terry Holdren, and then Megan Kramer and Sheridan Wimmer. And it's like, hey, can I write just a few feature stories? And they were like, yeah, we'll try it. Well, we tried it. They liked it. I liked it. I loved it. And one of the things I heard at that FFA convention, which there were 56,000 new heroes I met there. And I say to people when I talk, there were 56,000 bright, brilliant, beautiful blue jacketed people we ought to just go ahead and turn the world over to tomorrow. Most FFA and ag instructors like, well, maybe not tomorrow. We ought to wait a couple of days, but they're just so impressive. But they kept saying we need to tell our story better. And I thought, well, I can help. I can write. But as I went out to visit all the farmers and ranchers at 6 o'clock in the morning, drinking coffee and stumbling across the pastures with them and bouncing, in their four wheelers, I learned that, they're too tired at the end of the day to tell their story. They work from sun up to way past sundown. And so they just do the work of feeding the world and don't realize that consumers are often being misled or misunderstood, standing of what they do. And so I get to tell their story and I get to shine a light on them. That makes me feel really good.
Rick, one other thing about the Market of Farms, what are the hours for the event on Saturday?
Great questions. From 9 to 3, and there'll be plenty of signage to get into the place. You can see it's just a big, beautiful facility right off 400, nothing but a pasture in between 400 and the facility, 9 to 3 on Saturday.
Don't want to forget, we have Jen Kern, who is joining us, the executive director of the Border Queen Harvest Hub. And if you're going to the Market of Farms event, you can learn more about that as well. But and Jen, as we talk about that, and as I mentioned earlier to you, that with Rick, with Megan Kramer, and with Kylie Stout, they have mentioned the Border Queen Harvest Hub. For those who are thinking, what in the world is Border Queen Harvest Hub? Can you explain what that, as it was commonly referred to, BQHH is all about?
Yes, sure. The Border Queen Harvest Hub, while Shop Kansas Farms is all over the state of Kansas, the Border Queen Harvest Hub is a regional platform designed to connect people with their local food and to help the producers to connect with the consumers. So it's about a 60-mile radius from right here where I'm at in Caldwell, Kansas. So we also encompass a little bit in Oklahoma as well as Kansas. So we're kind of a digital gathering place where the producers and the processors and the distributors and consumers can all find each other.
And what's the biggest purpose of creating a Border Queen Harvest Hub like this?
So it is to not only help the farmers to sell their products as Shop Kansas Farms does, but to help the consumers to find them. And I think one of the biggest ahas for me, living in this area and feeling like I know a lot of the farmers in this area, there's a lot of farmers and producers that are producing things that we don't even know about. So bringing them together on this platform helps us to find those farm fresh eggs or farm fresh products, vegetables, jams, jellies, whatever we need right here. And it's in driving distance.
Have you seen that success-wise? I'm sure you've got so many stories about that, of just, examples of stories that you have of the success of being able to create something like this harvest hub, but to be able to get those consumers more educated, but to, I guess, network is maybe the better way to put it too.
Yes, it's been wonderful. I mean, I started in February. The Shop Kansas Farm, or the Border Queen Harvest Hub, was started in 2024. And so we're up to 1,000 followers so far. And we have several producers on our list, and gathering new ones every day. So as far as meats, eggs, honey, fruit, vegetables, we have our processors on the list, salsa, flours, tallow, jam, even a distillery. We've got a couple of distilleries and baked goods, coffee, and dairy. So we're pretty excited about our list and how we're gathering more and more all the time. And a lot of that, when you go to find farm fresh foods, before Shop Kansas Farms, it was a lot of word of mouth, or who or finding out from somebody else's Facebook page, or going to a farmer's market. And this makes it a lot easier for those farmers if they can be online where people can find them, and maybe go to their farm or whatever they choose to be able to sell their products all the time.
All right. Let's hold that thought. When we come back, we're going to talk more about the Market of Farms event coming up this Saturday in Andover, but we'll also talk more about Border Queen Harvest Hub as well. Our guest, Jen Kern, Executive Director of Border Queen Harvest Hub, and Rick McNary, the founder of Shop Kansas Farms. And we'll take a break. We will be back on this edition of the Ag Issues program on 580 WIBW. All right, for everyone, we are in our commercial break right now on 580 WIBW, and always a lot to talk about, as we mentioned, with Shop Kansas Farms, as well as the Border Queen Harvest Hub. And Rick, I was joking with Jen that, obviously you remember the first time I had you on, you just crossed the 50,000 follower level. And I think I just snuck a peek on 170,400 members, at least 170,400 members. That's what's pretty amazing. In the 5+ years, I think it was April of 2020 that took place. So we're talking now almost 5.5 years that that type of growth. And it's, and Rick, and I'll ask you this as we come out of the break, and just thinking about the crowd size you've seen at the previous Market of Farms events too. And so as we are doing this, as we commonly joke, we have to pay the bills, as there's always bills to pay here. And also thank the folks at Kansas Farm Bureau, now the owners of Shop Kansas Farms. But Rick has kept knee deep, hip deep, waist deep, chest deep into this, as he always has. But we're glad to always have him on the program, and also the same with Jen as well. So getting close here, and we will come back to it here in just a second.
Learn more at FisherInvestments.com. Investing in securities involves the risk of loss. Snakes, zombies, public speaking. The list of fears is endless. But the real danger is in your hand when you're behind the wheel. Distracted driving is what's really scary and even deadly. Eyes forward, don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
As the leader in bovine respiratory disease solutions, Zoetis knows you need every edge you can get in your fight against VRD. That's why our solution's active ingredients include Josh, and James, and Amy, and Beth, and Mike, and 100 plus more professionals with top of the line expertise to keep your cattle and your ROI healthy. Visit ZoetisUS.com/VRD or talk to your veterinarian to get started.
This is Ag Issues with Greg Akagi.
And we are back on the Ag Issues program this morning here on 580 WIBW. Rick McNary, the founder of Shop Kansas Farms, is joining us on the program, as is Jen Kern, the executive director of the Border Queen Harvest Hub. And we're talking about the Market of Farms event coming up this Saturday at the Heritage in Andover. We hope you're able to make it as well. And Rick, as Jen was talking about the Border Queen Harvest Hub, one of the issues you're very passionate about, of course, with food is the food deserts being able to provide as well. This has an angle to that as far as you're thinking, well, where do we see food deserts in the state of Kansas? But food issues like that as well. This is where it ties in very importantly as far as really helping out those who are in need.
Indeed. In order for food to get to the plate, it takes three different processes. It takes somebody producing it, someone processing it, and someone distributing it. For the direct-to-consumer sales to be successful, that supply chain needs to be in place, but often it's not. Meat processors before the pandemic were just dying on the vine, and there wasn't any commercial kitchens or canneries, for people with specialty products. Then also the distribution points. And so part of what Jen has done with the Border Queen Harvest Hub, they've got a new commercial kitchen down there, and across the street from her and in other locations in the hub are these new grocery stores that are popping up that are sourcing local products and farmers. And so these harvest hubs in particular, and what we do too, especially with the Market of Farms, is that becomes a distribution point. And so we're helping the direct to consumer producers get to the consumer through that building up and supporting that supply chain.
Jen, how important has that been, having it centrally located in Caldwell, a small town along the Kansas-Oklahoma border, but to be able to provide that type of product?
It's been very important because, as you know, with small towns, a lot of us know each other, but even the towns surrounding us, farmers know each other as well. And so when we can get that word out to our consumers that we have a way for people to get farm fresh food, it's pretty exciting. I think there's been a movement of consumers who care about where their food comes from. They want that transparency, freshness, and a relationship with the people that prepare those things.
Isn't it amazing what you see from people who are thanking you to being able to provide that product, but to be able to do it in the way that you do there at the Border Queen Harvest Hub?
Yes, it is amazing, and it's exciting. So, like Rick was saying, we have some rural grocery stores that carry foods from different farmers in the area as well. But then you also have some of those people that are out on their own that can sell their products on the Harvest Hub too. So that's borderqueenharvesthub.com, which is connected to Shop Kansas Farms.
Rick, the education part of this, not only as far as from being able to administer this, but talking to those farmers, those ranchers who provide their products, and things you're able to do to help them in the 5.5 years that this has been in existence has probably paid tenfold as far as what information you've been able to provide. Folks at Kansas Farm Bureau has been able to provide what Jen has been able to provide too.
Absolutely. And as you've heard Megan Kramer with Kansas Farm Bureau say, they saw more education happening through this than in many other ways that they did, being able to connect to consumers. And I got to give a big shout out to Kansas Farm Bureau. As you know, I sold this to them a couple of years ago. They told me I needed to stay around for at least 5 years, and I was happy to. By the way, the Border Queen Harvest Hub is actually through a grant from the Patterson Family Foundation. So a shout out to them, all under the Farm Bureau umbrella, because they see the value. They're agriculture, and as you know, Greg, in Kansas is a massive industry, but it's often disconnected, the 2% that feed the 100%, because it's so large scale. But this direct to consumer gives this new relationship between the consumer and the farmer. So the farmers learn to talk to the consumers, and the consumers learn what the farmers mean. Like when you're talking about taking a beef in, what is a rail weight? What does that mean? How come it goes in weighing 1,200 pounds and I only get about 500 pounds of meat? What is that? So they get an opportunity to explain how the whole system works. And so consumers are like, oh, okay, well, that makes perfect sense. Now I know.
All right. We got to end the program because we could talk more than an hour on this as well. Rick, give the hours once again and the location of the Market of Farms event coming up.
It's at that loft, the Heritage Loft Apartments in Andover, just east of Butler. It's from 9 to 3 on Saturday.
And Jen, you will be there as well.
Yes.
And if they like more information about the Border Queen Harvest Hub, what's the website once again?
BorderQueenHarvestHub.com.
All right, sounds good. Jen, pleasure to be able to talk with you and appreciate you being on the program this morning.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Rick, as always, great to talk to you as well. Appreciate it, as always.
Thank you, my friend.
That is our Ag Issues program for this morning here on 580 WIBW. Stay with us. When we come back, we'll get an update on the news headlines, and we'll check the weather forecast. That comes up next.